Ethan, what is it?
Is it the thing that you're with Murray? Or?
Yeah, with Mr. McMurray. What's the name of the club?
Symposium?
The Symposium, right? So I'm in a book club with Mr. McMurray. We read at least 12 books a year. We've been doing it for about 4 years, right? And I'm thinking of the one book that I thought I could tell you guys about that had the most important lessons for you guys. And I thought of a book called The Righteous Mind, Why Good People Are Divided by Politics and Religion. It's by an author named Jonathan Haidt. And I thought it was a book that had a lesson that would be really important for you guys where you're living with a whole bunch of people that have different cultures, have different backgrounds, different values. So, the big question here is, what is stronger? Your rational sense or your moral sense? Go ahead and just talk to your partner. What do you guys think about yourself? Do you think that you're a more rational person or a more moral person? And what leads you, your gut or your head? Go ahead and talk to your friends.
What was Julia Freire to explanation mark?
Eu acho que o balanço moral. É porque eu acho que tem uma coisa que é o coração. Eu sou 99% racional e 1%.
All right, guys, let's see a show of hands for this one. Who says that they follow their head the most, that they're a rational person? Let's see a show of hands. Who could put their hands up for rationality? Okay. All right, how about let's see a show of hands now for following their gut, their moral sense? Okay. Well, research points to all human people follow our gut, our moral sense. Okay? So the way that he describes it is the rider and the elephant. In this analogy, the rider is your rationality or your consciousness, and the elephant is your intuitive mind, your emotions, your gut. The rider may guide the elephant, but the elephant leads the way. Okay? I was actually thinking of this there's a president in the United States by the name of Trump. Have you guys heard of him? Okay. So he's quite famous nowadays. Who follows Trump around all the time right now? Elon Musk is always there. Does Elon Musk dress up very nicely? No, Elon Musk goes into the White House and he might look like I look right now, right? With a hoodie, or he has his hat on. And does Trump like Elon Musk being there? Loves Elon Musk being there. Okay? Trump probably thinks something positively about Elon Musk, has a good gut feeling for Elon Musk, and then when he's dressed that way, it's no problem. Does that make sense? Who was in the White House more? Zelensky, okay? Zelensky was in the White House, and how was he dressed?
All black.
Well, he wasn't wearing a suit, okay? And then what was Trump's response to that? He's very angry at it. Why aren't you wearing a suit? Is disrespectful, okay? So in this way, it's not a rationality, it's an emotional thing, right? Your emotions lead first, and then your rationality comes afterwards, okay? So emotions come first, reasoning second. That's the main rule about life that we learn from this. So human intuition, emotions are often stronger than their rationality or consciousness. We use our rationality not to create opinions, but rather to justify opinions that we already have. To understand why people act a certain way, we must understand what guides their intuitions, their emotions. And then the next part of it, that's the main first point, is that we are emotional first, and then our rationality is just only explaining our emotions. And the second part is that there's 6 moral foundations that guide our intuitions or our emotions. Who did the quiz? Thank you very much for doing the quiz. You now know what your which one of the 6 moral foundations guides you the most, and maybe which ones you don't care about so much. So one of the things about these moral foundations, why there are 6 of them, is because they evolved with us, okay? This is called multi-level selection. With multi-level selection, we compete against each other with evolution, right? Some people are more adapted to survive, as Charles Darwin would say, and they get to procreate and evolve that way, natural selection. However, natural selection also happens with groups, in terms of tribes. So the tribe that works together better will defeat the tribe that doesn't work together as good. Does that make sense? So then what the traits of that tribe are, evolve and continue with them. So what is the main moral pillar of these countries? What countries do we have, guys? China, India, Japan, Sweden, USA. Okay. So first off, what we're going to do, by the way, is we're going to try to think of what country kind of embodies these emotions, okay? These morals, I should say. So the first moral is the care-harm moral, okay? This evolutionary basis, how it evolved in us, is it originated from the need to protect offspring. Okay, the tribe, the group of family that protects their offspring the most is what evolves forward with us. It enhances compassion, empathy, and nurturing. So one of the questions you might have had is, when raising a child, it would be more preferable for them to end up kind and lowly than successful but cold-hearted. Okay, so right now, imagine you have a kid. Do you want your kid to be, grow up and maybe they have a job where they're not that successful? They grow up, but maybe they work, what's the stereotype? McDonald's. Okay, they work at McDonald's, they're an adult kid, really kind, wonderfully kind, really sweet, remember everybody's birthday, buy nice gifts, treats everybody really nice, please and thank you, all of those things. Would you rather have your child grow up that way, or would you rather have your child maybe become a successful lawyer but doesn't care about anybody? Okay, so who says, just think for a second here, who says they would rather have their child, let's see a show of hands, to grow up kind? Okay, who says, by the way, if you have your hand up right now, you probably have a lot of care-harm as part of your moral foundations. Okay, who would rather have their child grow up to be successful? All right, then you probably don't have care-harm as a really high moral foundation personally. You probably have something else as your moral foundations. Okay, let's take a guess. What country do you think really embodies care and harm as a moral foundation? Okay, I guess Sweden. Who's saying Sweden? Vocal, why are you saying Sweden?
It's I don't know. They care about like raising a child, like what they do.
Okay, they care about raising a child. Okay, anybody else want to think of something else?
Finland.
Okay, go ahead, Ethan. Free healthcare. Okay, so I did pick Sweden for this one. It emphasizes social welfare, healthcare, and child protection policies that prioritize empathy and compassion. So I was just thinking of one of those. This is an advertisement from Sweden, as you can see in the bottom right-hand corner. So Sweden offers 480 days of parental leave per child, of which 90 days are reserved for each parent, and the rest are transferable between parents. Parental leave is part of the social safety system, which has enabled Swedish economy to grow strong. The economy stuff is probably not so true, okay? That would actually probably be damaging to your economy, but at the same time, that's your priority, what the moral foundation is and what the value is. And the value in Sweden is probably very high for care and harm, okay? So let's go ahead and let's move for fairness and cheating. The evolutionary basis for this is rooted in reciprocal altruism, right? I do something for you, and in return, you do something for me, okay? Tribes that have this in the multi-level selection might do better than tribes that don't have this. So the key question here, encourages cooperation and punishes dishonesty. The key question here, people should always strive to reciprocate any favor they willingly accept from others later on, even when doing so is not expected. So let's think, your friend invites you over for dinner, treats you to a really nice meal, cooks all day for it, has a great time for you. Should you do it for them too? Or they don't expect it, but should you feel obligated to do it as well? Okay, so who feels like they should have to do that back for their friend? Raise your hands. Who thinks, hey, the friend doesn't really expect you to do it, there's no problem? Ooh, okay. So if you had your hands up earlier, then you probably trend really high in the fairness, okay? That you really care about fairness and cheating. By the way, what country do you think would be really a country that has high fairness? What's that? Japan? I heard it over here, by the way.
USA.
I heard somebody say Canada. I think Canada actually is a country that is really much like this. Okay? So Canada is known for its strong commitment to social justice, fairness, and equality. Do you guys remember September 30th? What's September 30th?
Truth and Reconciliation Day.
Truth and Reconciliation Day, right? I think that's a day where we're trying to have more fairness and equality in our society. Okay? I actually thought of this. Who's been frustrated with Canadian healthcare before? Who was frustrated with Canadian healthcare yesterday? Oh, Mr. Hallis. Mr. Hallis was frustrated yesterday. Okay? But the basis behind that is probably in your country, if you have some money, you could pay some money and get doctor service right away. Right? But the feeling in Canada is that everybody has to take a turn. Right? So the basis, the moral foundation behind that, the way that, or the reason that Canadians put up with that is that we really tread highly on fairness. Does that make sense? All right. So looking forward, loyalty, betrayal. The evolutionary basis for this emerged to foster strong group cohesion. Right? The tribe that supports its members is going to outsurvive the tribe that doesn't. So it strengthens group loyalty and trust. Here's a good question. Is it important for families to stick together and uphold unity even when its members do not get along? Okay, I think about maybe like divorce rates. Right? Canada divorce rate's about 50%. Okay. Some countries, I think Belgium might be the highest, or Portugal or Belgium. I think it's upwards 60-something %. Okay, Mexico, much lower. Mexico's down around 20%. Okay. So you would think that, like, hey, how about in this situation? You're married, you don't get along with your spouse. Should you leave? Right? Or how about this? I know I have some friends that their families are very, their families might be from a different place from Vancouver, and then politics come up. And they really care about social issues like First Nations issues, and they really care about supporting healthcare, and then maybe their families from a different area in Canada have different values. So I have friends that have cut out their family, saying, I don't agree with that family member. Maybe that family member likes Trump or something like that, and say, I don't like that member, and they cut them out. And they don't want to talk with them anymore. Okay? That would be a person that has really low loyalty. Okay? By the way, let's go back to the family one. Who thinks that families have to stick together even when it's tough? Raise your hand. Who thinks, no, you better go and take care of yourself? Okay. So if you raise your hand up for the first one, you will have high loyalty. If you guys did the questionnaire, they call it in-group, not loyalty. Okay, but in the book they call it loyalty. Oh, I forgot to ask you. I think the country that maybe has the highest loyalty that I can think of is Japan. Not only do they emphasize loyalty to family, but also loyalty to company, loyalty to national pride or to the nation. I'm thinking of this. I don't know even. I was thinking about this one. Can anybody tell me what this is from? This is from Fukushima. Do you guys remember Fukushima?
Nagasaki.
Maybe it was before you were born. You guys are so young. I think Fukushima was like maybe 2011 or something like that, 2012. Okay? And there was this big earthquake, and as part of that big earthquake, a tsunami came and killed lots of people. Okay? Another thing that happened at that time is a nuclear power plant was inundated with water and had a meltdown. Okay? So as part of that meltdown, radiation was there. And people had to go into the nuclear power plant and try to stop the problem and the radiation from spreading. And do you know what happened in Japan? Some people volunteered. They said, hey, I'll go in. They usually older people. They would say, hey, I'll go in. I'll suffer the radiation. I'm already old. I'll go ahead, I'll do this, and then I could die afterwards. Okay, the radiation would probably take a couple of years to come in. They might have died of other causes. I think in Canada, would that be a likely scenario? Probably not, right? It probably would be very hard to get people to go in and do that. In Japan, the people volunteered to do that. So I thought that was a great example of loyalty, okay? Loyalty to the nation in that case, all right? Looking at the next one, authority. Okay, the evolutionary basis for this is development to maintain social order in hierarchical groups. Okay, if you have a country, or a tribe, because it's multi-level selection, if you have a tribe that's working really well together, that isn't fighting amongst the tribe, they're going to work better than a tribe that is fighting amongst itself. Okay? So it encourages respect for leadership and stability. Here's a key question. Is it important for professional environments to uphold formality and diplomatic etiquette? Okay? So you can think about this with one thing that happened in Canada is our last Prime Minister was named Justin Trudeau, and he was very unpopular. Okay? One thing is you could drive on highways and you might see people with flags. And you know what the flag said? Don't say it out loud, Ethan. You could say F Trudeau, so you don't say the swear word. Okay, but they wrote out the swear word, F Trudeau, and people were flying that. Okay? Now, that actually kind of offended me. I thought, oh, I don't like Justin Trudeau either, but maybe that's not a really nice thing. He's still the Prime Minister. He's still supposed to be in charge of the country. Who would, so how about with that one? Who would find that offensive if somebody was flying a flag that was insulting your country's leader? Okay, so probably you tend a little bit higher with authority that way. Okay, how about who finds it not offensive at all? Okay, then you probably trend a little bit lower in authority. Okay, when I was trying to pick out these countries that were high in authority, what country do you think I picked out? Okay, yeah, I definitely went with China for this one. Okay. The North Korea would be a very good example. Some religions like Confucianism, really, Confucianism is a very kind of authority-based religion, right? So strong emphasis on respect for authority, hierarchy, and Confucian values. Okay. Who knows Confucius? How can you say Confucius in Chinese even? No clue? How can you say it, Ruby? I think it's Gongja. Okay. I was trying to say it in Korean earlier. Soki, can you think of how to say it in Korean? Ella let me down with it earlier too. So I was really thinking of this though too. When is this picture taken? During COVID, right? China never had as much or as many problems as we did in terms of shutting down and having people go into their houses. Okay, people really believe in authority there. They have high moral values for authority. In Canada, we had a lot of problems with people going, trying to get people to stay home and isolate. Okay. I think that's probably a police officer or something. I don't know. Okay. But anyways, you can think of COVID as a time where you could see the high moral values for authority in China at that time. Here's another one, sanctity degradation. So the evolutionary basis for this, it originated from the need to avoid contamination and diseases. So it strengthens cultural and spiritual traditions. Key question, certain inanimate objects should be treated as sacred, immoral to disrespect them, even when no property damage is done and nobody is around to witness it. So I think of this like a church, okay? I'm not religious. I've been inside of church, but never for any kind of purpose besides to take a picture. But what if I were to see somebody pee on a church? Would I be okay with that, or would it offend me? Does that make sense? Who would find that offensive? Who would be okay with that? Okay, so if you found it offensive, you probably actually have some sanctity or degradation value for yourself. Okay. The test you guys did, it calls it purity instead of sanctity. Any guesses what country would be high on this?
India.
Okay. So yeah, India, deep cultural and spiritual practices emphasize purity, sacred spaces, and rituals. Okay. I think we talk about the need for it, or it originated from a need for cleanliness, basically. Maybe sometimes that connection isn't there, but we could think that in India you have a whole bunch of different sacred places. Anybody know what this one is here?
River.
This is the Ganges River. It's considered a holy place where people go to bathe. It's sacred. Gandhi was cremated onto this river as well. By the way, Rohaya had the Indus River Valley civilization. India's name is from Indus Valley, which is in Pakistan now. Go figure. Next one up, liberty, oppression. The evolutionary basis for this, it emerged from the need to resist dominance and maintain individual freedom. It promotes resistance to tyranny and fairness in power structures. Here's a key question for you. Protecting the public's right to privacy from surveillance and espionage should be a greater priority than using said tools to catch terrorists or criminals. Okay, do you guys know CCTV? Right, we have some CCTV in the school. I'm always looking for vapors. Like, who's vaping in the school? I'll just try. The alarm will go off and I'll check the camera to see who it is. Okay. I've been to some countries where there's a lot of CCTV, but sometimes in Canada we don't have as much. Right? If you think we should have more CCTV, or another would I would think in Korea when you drive a car, every car has a black box, so it records everything that's happening. When a car accident happens, they just take a look at the cameras and decide. Where in Canada we don't really have that. We have it sometimes. You have to pay extra, but not always. Okay. Who thinks that we should have more surveillance in Canada, or more surveillance would be a good thing? Let's see your hands. Who thinks that we have to have more freedoms then? Little bit half break on this one. What country do you think would be really high on liberty? Definitely America. Okay. A strong cultural emphasis on individual rights, freedoms, and resistance to government overreach. I think a really good example of this that would be strange for you guys is this.
McDonald's?
Okay, what's going on in this picture? This is called open carry. In the USA, you're allowed to carry guns around with you. Okay, even in certain states, thank you. Okay, in certain states, you're allowed to carry guns around with you. You could just go into the restaurant with a gun. And for Americans in the state, they have really high, their moral compass is really about liberty. Okay, you might see a flag with a snake on that says, "Don't tread on me." Okay, very focused on it. However, I put this one up here too, or there's a couple up here, is that, it's not like the whole country is focused that way, right? There's different political movements that are focused on different things, and every individual is a little bit different too. So here is what is called a moral matrix for American social conservatives. The social conservatives kind of have some care, some liberty, some fairness, some loyalty, some authority, some sanctity. But if you take a look here, this is an American liberal. Okay, an American liberal very much cares about care. Their moral compass is about care. Liberty's there as well. Fairness is there as well, but loyalty, authority, and sanctity are not there. They're very small. It's not very important for them. This would be somebody who might vote for the Democratic Party in the USA, okay, or the Liberal Party in Canada. This is another one called a libertarian. A libertarian focuses very much on liberty. They don't really have a high moral compass for care, loyalty, authority, or sanctity. They have a bit for fairness. Okay? So, that is the moral foundation theory. I hope you guys learned something. And then when you are interacting with people around the school, you could think about, hey, maybe this person has a different moral compass than I do. They have different moral values, and that's why we see things differently. And when you go into an argument, your rationality can't win either because you guys are coming from different values. So thank you very much for listening to me. Here we go, Gabby.
Wow, was that not so informative? Thank you, Mr. Chappie. And with that, guys, thank you for coming to our event. Well, if you'd like to do your own, you can sign up here or message me. And guys, please also give me a review. And with that, it's donut time! Guys, if you'd like, please get up, and the donuts should be ready for you by the door. You secure